बहुत साल पहले किसी ने मुझसे कहा था, पड़ोस में रहते हैं, बूढ़े भर का जोर लगा लो, बिगाड़ लो जो बिगाड़ सकते हो।
Welcome back to CineFacts, your destination for in-depth cinema discussions and detailed movie explorations. In today's video, we turn our focus to Dhurandhar, a film that stands out for its intense narrative, layered characters, and ambitious cinematic vision. From the very beginning, Dhurandhar establishes a powerful atmosphere, drawing viewers into a world shaped by conflict, determination, and high emotional stakes. The film weaves together compelling storytelling with striking visuals and a strong dramatic core, making it a notable entry for audiences who appreciate meaningful and impactful cinema. In this video, we will explore what makes Dhurandhar so engaging, examine its themes, performances, and technical execution, and discuss why it has captured the attention of moviegoers. Stay with CineFacts as we break down the essence of Dhurandhar and uncover what sets it apart in today's cinematic landscape. Dhurandhar, Stalwart, is a 2025 Indian Hindi-language spy action thriller written, co-produced, and directed by Aditya Dar, and jointly produced by Jyoti Deshpande, Aditya Dar, and Lokesh Dar under the banners of Jio Studios and B62 Studios. Conceived as the first chapter in an ambitious two-part film series, the project brings together a formidable ensemble cast led by Ranveer Singh, Akshaye Khanna, Sanjay Dutt, Arjun Rampal, and Dar Madhavan, supported by a wide range of prominent actors in pivotal roles. The film centers on a high-risk, covert counter-terrorism mission, following an undercover Indian intelligence operative who penetrates deep into Karachi's criminal underworld and entrenched political power structures in Pakistan, with the objective of dismantling a sophisticated terror network posing a grave threat to India's national security. Drawing loose inspiration from several real-world geopolitical flashpoints and conflicts in South Asia, including the 1999 IC-814 hijacking, the 2001 Indian Parliament attack, the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, and developments associated with Pakistan's Operation Light Area. The narrative blends fictionalized espionage with echoes of historical events to construct a sprawling, high-stakes thriller. Principal photography spanned an extended period from July 2024 to October 2025, with filming conducted across diverse locations in India and abroad, including Punjab, Maharashtra, Chandigarh, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, and Thailand, lending the film a large-scale and authentic visual canvas. The soundtrack and background score, composed by Shashwat Sachdev, complement the film's intense tone, while cinematography by Vikash Nolakha and editing by Shivkumar V. Panikkar shape its expansive narrative. which runs for an imposing 214 minutes, placing Dhurandhar among the longest Indian films ever produced. Released theatrically on December 5, 2025, the film received mixed critical responses, with praise directed toward its performances, direction, action choreography, cinematography, musical score, and production design, while criticism focused primarily on its extended runtime and uneven pacing. The film also generated controversy for its blending of fictional storytelling with real historical events, with some commentators labeling it propagandistic. Despite the debate, Dhurandhar proved to be a major commercial success, grossing over a superscript 11,000 crore worldwide within 3 weeks and emerging as the highest-grossing Hindi film in India and the second highest-grossing Hindi film globally at the time of its release. Although it was banned from theatrical exhibition in several Gulf Cooperation Council countries and officially barred from release in Pakistan due to the ongoing ban on Indian films, the movie reportedly garnered around 2 million pirated digital downloads in Pakistan. A direct sequel, titled Dhurandhar: The Revenge, is scheduled for theatrical release on March 19, 2026, continuing the story established in this first installment. The narrative of Dhurandhar unfolds across 8 distinct chapters of The Price of Peace, Stranger in the Land of Shadows, The Bastard King of Lyari, Bullets and Roses, The Jinn, The Devil's Guardian, The Butterfly Effect, and At 2 Brit each charting a critical phase in a sprawling covert operation. The story opens on December 30, 1999, as India's Minister of External Affairs Devil Virat Kapoor and Intelligence Bureau Director Ajay Sanyal negotiate with terrorist Zahor Mistry in Kandahar, agreeing to release 3 imprisoned militants, including Mistry's brother, and pay a $10 million ransom to save hundreds of airline passengers. Although RA Chief K.S. Buller initially rejects Sanyal's proposal to infiltrate Pakistan-based terror networks, the devastating 2001 Indian Parliament attack forces a shift in strategy, leading Kapoor to secretly authorize the launch of Operation Dhurandhar. Sanyal dispatches undercover operative Hamza Ali Mazari into Pakistan via Afghanistan's Torkham border, embedding him in Karachi's volatile Lyari district. There, Hamza befriends Muhammad Alam, a modest juice shop owner, lives with him, works as a waiter, and quietly studies the intricate web of gang rivalries and political patronage. Claiming Balak heritage, Hamza aligns himself with feared gangster Raman Dakait and his cousin and deputy Uzair Balak, gradually earning their trust. He soon learns of a looming threat from a rival path and gang led by Raman's estranged father, Babu Dakait, who plots to assassinate Raman's eldest son, Naeem. When Babu's men attack a wedding attended by Naeem and his younger brother Faisal, Hamza manages to save Faisal, though Naeem is killed, an act that solidifies Hamza's position within Raman's inner circle. Ignoring political warnings from Pakistan Awami Party leader Jamil Jamali to delay retaliation before local elections, Hamza subtly pushes Raman toward vengeance, culminating in a brutal purge of Babu's faction and Raman personally killing his father to assert uncontested Balak dominance over Lyari. As Raman's power grows, Hamza becomes romantically involved with Jamil's daughter Yalina, further entangling himself in local politics. Meanwhile, Raman is introduced through influential businessman, the Kanani brothers to Major Iqbal of Pakistan's ISIS, who seeks weapons and logistical support. Hamza uncovers Iqbal's counterfeit currency racket and witnesses his ruthless handling of Indian spies, intelligence that he relays back to Sanyal through Alam, raising suspicions that Pakistan holds Indian currency printing plates. While escorting arms shipments, Hamza also discovers preparations for a large-scale terror attack on India, but despite his warnings, the 26/11 Mumbai attacks still occur, leaving him shaken and determined to dismantle the terror apparatus from within. Political alliances shift as Raman, backed by Iqbal, enters formal politics, sidelining Jamil, who retaliates by recruiting suspended police officer Chaudhry Islam to form a Lyari task force aimed at eliminating Raman. When Islam arrests Raman, Hamza manipulates events by exposing Jamil's criminal collusion and coercing authorities into Raman's release through calculated intimidation. Ultimately, Hamza orchestrates Raman's downfall from inside his own circle, proposing marriage to Yalina to secure political legitimacy while secretly conspiring with Jamil and Islam. On the day of a critical weapons delivery, Hamza engineers a trap, betraying Raman, who realizes the deception too late. After a violent confrontation and arrest, Raman succumbs to his injuries in hospital. In the aftermath, Hamza's true identity is revealed as Jaskurat Singh Ringji, an Indian death row convict repurposed as a deep cover asset by Ajay Sanyal. With Lyari now under his control, Jaskurat prepares for the next phase of the mission, taking aim at Baid Sahab, the shadowy mastermind behind multiple terror attacks against India, setting the stage for the sequel. The ensemble cast of Dhurandhar brings together a wide range of performers who collectively anchor the film's expansive political and espionage narrative. Ranveer Singh leads the film in a dual-layered role as Hamza Ali Mazari, later revealed to be Jaskurat Singh Ringji, an undercover Indian operative known ominously as the Wrath of God, whose transformation from a deep-cover agent to a dominant power broker forms the backbone of the story. Akshaye Khanna delivers a commanding performance as Raman Dakate, nicknamed the Apex Predator, the ruthless leader of the Balak gang and founder and chairman of the People's Almond Committee, embodying both raw brutality and calculated political ambition. Sanjay Dutt appears as SP Chaudhry Islam, referred to as the Jinn, a formidable officer of the Sine Police and head of the Lyari task force, whose presence looms large in the violent power struggles of Karachi's underworld. Arjun Rampal portrays Major Iqbal of the Isaac, the chilling angel of death, a character inspired by real-life militant figures, representing the shadowy nexus between intelligence agencies and terror networks. R. Madhavan plays Ajay Sanyal, the director of the Intelligence Bureau, known as the Charioteer of Karma, a strategic mastermind modeled on Ajit Doval, whose moral ambiguity and long-term vision drive Operation Dhurandhar from behind the scenes. Sora Arjun appears as Yalina Jamali, the daughter of influential politician Jamil Jamali, whose relationship with Hamza becomes a crucial political and emotional turning point in the narrative. Rikesh Bedi portrays Jamil Jamali himself, a senior Pakistan Awami Party leader and member of the National Assembly, whose shifting alliances reflect the volatile intersection of politics and crime. Gaurav Jara plays Muhammad Alam, a humble juice shop owner in Lyari who secretly serves as Hamza's handler and moral anchor, while Manav Gohil appears as Sushant Bansal, the deputy director of the Intelligence Bureau. Danish Bender takes on the role of Uzair Balak, Raman's cousin and second-in-command, whose loyalty and volatility intensify the gang's internal dynamics, alongside Samyat and Nazulfat Jahan, Raman's wife, adding a personal dimension to his criminal empire. Supporting roles further enrich the narrative, with Bimal Abral as Shirani Ahmad Balak, leader of the Balak United Forces, Sif Ali Haider Khan as Babu Dakate, Raman's estranged father and leader of the rival Pathan gang Naveen Kaushik as Danga, Raman's trusted enforcer and Ru'ala Ghazi as Sayai, one of his henchmen. The political and criminal ecosystem is expanded through performances by Ashwandar as Arshad Papu, another Pathan gang leader, Gitika Ganjudar as Shabnam, Jamil's wife and Yalina's mother, and Aditya Appal as ASP Omar Haider of the Lyari task force, a character inspired by real-life policing figures. The film also features Ankit Sagar and Mushtaq Nka as Javed and Altaf Kanani, twin brothers behind the money laundering empire Kanani Kalya International, while Vinod Thirani, Faiz Khan, Sanjay Mehta, Karlandu Hart, and Dalvinder Saini portray key figures involved in planning and executing the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, grounding the film's fictional narrative in recognizable historical parallels. Additional roles include Vivek Sinha and Rajesh Sangwan as IC-814 hijackers Zahora Mistry and Ibrahim Athra, Sanjay Mendarita as Pakistani President Akwab Ali Zarwari, Akash Khurana as Indian External Affairs Minister Delva Virat Kapoor, and Ali Raza Amdar as RA official KS Bowler. The supporting cast is rounded out by Shta Shrivastava as Constable Kamlesh Kumari Yadav, along with special appearances by Qaisal D'Souza and Desha Khan as dancers, and Jasmine Sandlas and Madhu Banti Bagki as singers in the song Shararat, collectively contributing to the film's scale. realism, and dramatic weight. The music of Dhurandhar plays a crucial role in shaping the film's emotional intensity and narrative scale, with the soundtrack composed by Shashwat Sachdev in his second collaboration with director Aditya Dar following their successful partnership on Uri, The Surgical Strike, 2019. Known for blending contemporary sonic textures with traditional influences, Sachdev crafts a score and set of songs that mirror the film's themes of conflict, identity, and sacrifice, while the lyrics, penned by acclaimed lyricist Rashid Kamil, add poetic depth and philosophical resonance to the compositions. The film's sound design and musical balance were further refined by re-recording mixer Justin Jose, whose work ensured that the songs and background score seamlessly integrated with the film's large-scale action and dramatic moments. The music rights were acquired by Saregama, signaling the project's commercial and cultural significance even before its release. The promotional rollout began with the release of the title track on October 15, 2025, a powerful reimagining of the 1995 Punjabi classic Na Dil De Pardesi Nu, originally sung by Mohammed Sadiq and Ranjit Kaur and composed by Tranjit Ahuja with lyrics by Babu Singh Maitan. In its new form, the song features dynamic vocals by Hanumankind and Jasmine Sandlas, blending hip-hop energy with Punjabi folk roots to reflect the film's modern yet deeply rooted sensibility. Riding on strong public anticipation, the second single, Akshaye Khanna, was released ahead of schedule on November 25, 2025, reinterpreting the iconic Hindi Qawwali Na Tu Karvan Ki Talash Hai from Barsat Ki Raat, 1960. Originally composed by Roshan with lyrics by Sahir Ludhianvi and sung by legends including Manaday and Mohammed Rafi. This recreated version retains the spiritual and philosophical essence of the original while adapting it to the film's darker, more introspective tone. The third single, Jehra, released on November 27, 2025, further expanded the album's emotional palette with its moody, introspective soundscape. The complete soundtrack album was officially released on December 1, 2025, just days before the film's theatrical debut, followed by an extended edition featuring 5 additional tracks on December 10, 2025, offering a more expansive musical experience that deepened the film's thematic and emotional layers. Dhurandhar received a wide theatrical release on December 5, 2025, arriving in cinemas after being granted an A, Adults Only, certificate by the Central Board of Film Certification due to its intense depiction of violence, disturbing imagery, and strong language. Following the certification process, several violent visuals and profanities were trimmed or censored, resulting in a finalized runtime of 214 minutes, underscoring the film's epic scale. Despite its restrictive rating, the film opened to a strong response in international markets, particularly in North America, where it crossed the $2 million mark during its opening weekend. The momentum continued across key territories including the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, and parts of Europe, contributing significantly to its overseas earnings and helping the film surpass a superscript 200 crore in international box office revenue. At the same time, Dhurandhar faced distribution barriers in the Middle East, where it was effectively barred from release across countries of the Gulf Cooperation Council. Toward the end of its theatrical run, on December 31, 2025, distributors replaced the existing digital cinema package across Indian theaters with a modified version of the film, muting certain words such as Balak and intelligence after they were deemed offensive to specific communities. This decision followed legal notices issued by members of the Balak community, who accused the filmmakers of defamation, particularly objecting to a dialogue perceived as derogatory. On the home media front, Netflix acquired the digital streaming rights for both parts of the film series in a high-value deal reportedly ranging between a superscript 130 and a superscript 285 crore. Dhurandhar began streaming on the platform from January 30, 2026 in Hindi, along with dubbed versions in Tamil and Telugu, significantly expanding its reach. Despite the official ban on Indian films in Pakistan since 2019, the film reportedly recorded around 2 million pirated digital downloads within a week of release. making it one of the most pirated films in the country and highlighting the film's widespread curiosity and cross-border attention even in restricted markets. Dhurandhar received a sharply divided critical response upon release, with reviewers acknowledging its ambition and technical strength while remaining conflicted over its length, tone, and political framing. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds a 42% approval rating based on 19 critics, reflecting the polarized reception. Several critics praised the film's scale and performances, particularly Ranveer Singh's restrained yet intense portrayal and Akshaye Khanna's commanding presence. Trade analyst Dhurandhar lauded the film as a brilliant and power-packed spectacle, emphasizing its mass appeal and strong box office potential, while Gayatri Nirmal of Pinkvilla highlighted the screenplay, second half, and background score but criticized the excessive runtime. Siddhant Lakha of IGN noted that the film balances rousing entertainment with troubling propagandistic undertones, whereas The Times of India's Renuka Vyavahar described it as a gritty Karachi mafia thriller whose chapter-based structure and immersive world-building largely prevent its near 3.5-hour runtime from becoming overwhelming. Similar sentiments were echoed by Filmfare, Bollywood Hungama, and Hindustan Times, which acknowledged Adity's ambition and craft while pointing out narrative density, pacing issues, and narrative sprawl. Other outlets such as NDTV, Deccan Herald, The Indian Express, and Mint were more critical, citing inconsistent storytelling, an overstretched second half, and overt jingoism that diluted the film's dramatic core. International and opinion-based responses were equally varied, with the Wall Street Journal calling it a rare realistic portrayal of India's terror threat, while critics from Scroll.in, The Hollywood Reporter India, and Common Sense Media argued that the film leaned heavily into stylized violence, machismo, and propaganda at the cost of emotional nuance. Some reviewers, including Midday and The Hindu, suggested that the film's ultimate judgment should be reserved until the second part completes the narrative, underscoring its status as an unfinished saga rather than a standalone work. Commercially, Dhurandhar emerged as a major box office phenomenon, defying its adult certification, long runtime, and divisive critical discourse. The film grossed a superscript 11,054.37 crore in India and a superscript 1293.03 crore overseas, taking its worldwide total to an estimated a superscript 11,347.40 crore, making it the highest-grossing Indian film of 2025, the second highest-grossing Hindi film of all time, the fourth highest-grossing Indian film overall, and the highest-grossing A-certified Indian film ever. It opened worldwide with a superscript 186.5 crore, drawing immediate attention from trade analysts due to its unusual day-on-day growth pattern, with collections rising steadily over its opening weekend rather than declining. Industry trackers reported approximately a superscript 124 crore on day 1, a superscript 127 crore on day 2, and a sharp jump to a superscript 135.5 crore on day 3, with the opening weekend figures being widely described as unprecedented. Within 9 days, the film was estimated to have earned around a superscript 1276 crore net in India, placing it firmly on track for a massive lifetime total, with early projections suggesting it could cross a superscript 1600 crore net domestically. Despite later adjustments to reported figures, trade reports emphasized that the film's second-week momentum was driven largely by organic audience demand rather than front-loaded hype. By its 19th day, Dhurandhar had grossed approximately a superscript 1880 crore worldwide, positioning it among the highest-grossing Hindi films globally and putting it on course to surpass the a superscript 11,000 crore milestone. On December 26, 2025, the film officially crossed a superscript 11,000 crore in worldwide grosses, becoming the fourth Hindi film and ninth Indian film overall to achieve the feat, while also marking Ranveer Singh's first entry into the a superscript 11,000 crore club. By early January 2026, the film went on to set additional benchmarks, emerging as the highest-grossing Hindi film in domestic net collections and the most commercially successful Bollywood release in the post-pandemic era, cementing its status as both a cultural flashpoint and a historic box office juggernaut. Dhurandhar is the story of a mysterious man who creates havoc in Pakistan. Ajay Sanyal, our Madhavan, chief of IB, is disturbed by the 1999 Air India hijack episode and the shocking attack on the Parliament of India on December 13, 2001. In 2002, External Affairs Minister Devrat Kapoor, Akshaye Khanna, accepts Ajay's proposal of Operation Dhurandhar. Accordingly, 2 years later, an Indian secret agent, Ranveer Singh, enters Pakistan and assumes the identity of Hamza Ali Mazari. He gets employed at a juice shop in the politically volatile area of Lyari, Karachi. From the juice owner Alam, Gaurav Jara, Hamza learns that two rival gangs operate in Lyari. One is run by Babu Dakate and the other is run by Raman Baloki aka Raman Dakate, Akshaye Khanna. As his name suggests, Raman is from Balochistan and Hamza also claims that he's from the same region. Hamza rescues Raman's elder son from an attack by Babu Dakate. This helps him earn the trust of Raman and he joins his gang. Raman is close to local politician Jamil Jamali, Rikashpati, who is insecure with the former's hold in Lyari. This motivates Jamil to bring suspended police officer Chaudhry Islam, Sanjay Dutt, back into the force with the single motive of keeping Raman in check. On the other hand, Raman becomes friendly with Major Iqbal, Arjun Rampal, Isaac, and happily helps the latter in his war against India. Since Hamza is a core member of Raman's gang, he also gets first-hand information on the ISIS strategies against India. While Hamza is working for the sake of his country, he falls in love with Jamil's daughter, Yalina, Sora Arjun. What happens next forms the rest of the film. Dhurandhar Movie Story Review. Aditya's story, inspired by true events, is fascinating. Aditya's screenplay, additional screenplay by Shivkumar V. Panikkar and Ojaz Gautam, is captivating and unlike the other spy or Pakistan-based films. However, the writing gets stretched. Aditya's dialogues are dramatic, but a film like this ought to have more massy one-liners. Aditya's direction is exemplary. Just like Uri, The Surgical Strike, 2019, Dhurandhar is divided into chapters. The text that appears on screen, whether it's names of characters and episodes or even certain crucial dialogues, make for a unique watch. At a crucial juncture, the screen turns red and real-life conversations between terrorists and their handlers are played. Again, this is a one-of-a-kind thing that helps the film stand out. Of course, there's no denying that the film has enough gripping and cinematic moments as well. The manner in which a man from India manages to infiltrate deep into Pakistan's political system is quite entertaining and even intriguing. Moreover, his rise seems organic and is not unconvincing at all. The attack on Raman's son in the marriage is memorable and so is the scene where the whole gang of Babu is finished. The intermission arrives at a nail-biting juncture. Post-interval, the way Hamza goes to insane lengths to save his boss makes for a great watch. The finale fight is also worth a watch. On the flip side, the film majorly suffers on account of its very long length. Dhurandhar has a runtime of 214 minutes and moreover, the interval point comes after 2 hours. One can argue that even Animal, 2023, or Pushpa 2, 2024, were lengthy, but those were conventional mass entertainers. Dhurandhar, meanwhile, is a mass cinema of a different kind. In some places, the narrative seems a bit dry and stretched. Hence, there are moments where the audience, especially the masses, would lose interest. Also, it's a two-part saga and a section of the audience might have reservations over the fact that despite such a lengthy runtime, the story is far from over. The other issue with the film is the romantic track. The manner in which the girl of a politician runs away while the politician looks the other way is hard to digest. Dhurandhar official trailer, Ranveer Singh, Sanjay Dutt, R. Madhavan, Akshaye Khanna, Arjun Rampal, Aditya Dhurandhar movie review performances. Ranveer Singh delivers one of the most accomplished performances of his career. He gets into the skin of the character and the way he has performed is seen to be believed, especially the scene where he's vulnerable is quite praiseworthy. Akshaye Khanna communicates a lot just through his eyes and expressions. The actor's sheer presence adds a lot to the film and his performance elevates the impact in many scenes. Sanjay Dutt is credited with the special appearance and as well. Arjun Rampal, too, has limited screen time and chooses terror and how. R. Madhavan is terrific and leaves a huge mark. Sora Arjun is let down by the writing but makes a smashing debut. Her screen presence is electrifying. Rikesh Bedi lends able support. Shashwat Sachdev's music Gaurav Jara, Naveen Kaushik, Donga, and Danish Pander, Use Air, are memorable. Akash Khurrana, Soumya Tandon, Raman's wife, Manav Gohil, Sushant Bansal, Bimal Arboro, and the actors playing the Kanani brothers do very well. Dhurandhar movie music and other technical aspects. Music is decent. The title track has already become a rage. Ashik Jalokray Karvan is the best of the lot in terms of placement. Jehrahua is decent. Run Down the City A Manik is well picturized. Sharat and Aziz are passable. Shashwat Sachdev's background score adds to the madness. Vikash Anolak's cinematography is spectacular. Sanyas Johray's production design is realistic while Smriti Chauhan's costumes are authentic. Edges Gulab, Si Young-oh, Yannick Ben and Ramazan Bhalat's action is very disturbing. Envision VFX, Film CGI, and Resonance Digital's VFX is satisfactory. Shivkumar V. Panikar's editing should have been much better. The film should have had a runtime of under 3 hours for a better impact. Dhurandhar movie review conclusion. On the whole, Dhurandhar is a well-made, ambitious big-screen experience with top-notch craft, memorable moments and some truly outstanding performances, led by a career-best turn from Ranveer Singh and a superbly controlled, scene-lifting act by Akshaye Khanna. However, the excessive runtime, dry stretches and the decision to tell this as a two-part saga will restrict its appeal for a section of the audience, especially those expecting a more racy, massy thriller. Ultimately, while the film has all the ingredients to win over viewers who have the patience for its length, its box office performance will heavily depend on word of mouth and how much the audience is willing to embrace such a long, tonally intense espionage drama. In the last few years, Aditya Dar has emerged as a Dhurandhar, an expert who can soft-pedal nationalist propaganda with aesthetic execution. After Uri and Article 370, here he turns a potential OTT series into a 212-minute unyielding character study of A enemies, addressed to an audience who lost faith in Aman and Asha with the neighbor after the Kandahar hijack and the Parliament attack of 2001. The film is mounted like a tribute to the exploits of Ajay Sanyal, R. Madhavan, who seems to be based on National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. While the disclaimer calls it a fictional exercise, the similarities with real-life characters seem more than coincidental. It shows Sanyal waiting for a like-minded political leadership to emerge at the center and Uttar Pradesh to give him a free hand to dismantle the terror factory in the neighborhood. What he does get from the senior minister with bushy eyebrows, played by Akash Khurrana, inspired by former Foreign Minister Jaswant Singh, is permission to infiltrate the underworld gangs in Karachi's Lyari area that the Pakistani state apparatus uses to bleed India. Storyline: a fearless raw agent goes undercover in Pakistan's brutal Lyari underworld to dismantle a gangsterized nexus behind major terror attacks on India. Coming after Operation Sindoor, the film echoes the eerie premise that subtly suggests that the previous government responded passively after the Mumbai attacks of 2008. And that larger threats loom within. Told through chapters, the characterization follows the popular dictum of the current dispensation: we will enter your home to kill. Aditya draws on real-life Pakistani characters to create a narrative that aligns with his line of thought. The unapologetic portrayal of violence, inserting documentary footage, and relentless use of swear words appear like an effort to create a counterpoint to Anurag Kashyap's kind of cinema for the adults in the jingoistic space. It could well have been called E-Gangs of Lyari in two parts. The tools are the same, the perspective is contrasting. On the surface, Sanyal sends Hamza, Ranveer Singh, a Terminator undercover with a long beard and brooding visage, to win the trust of the Balak gang led by Raman Dakate, Akshaye Khanna. Raman serves the interests of Jamil Jamali, Rikashpati, an opportunist politician who uses gangsters and police officers for his political interests. Hamza fuels Raman's political aspirations and wins over Jamali's daughter, creating a wedge between the two pillars. The modus operandi is not new, but the way Akshay and Rakesh play their parts keeps you hooked to the conflict. In The Multi-Starrer, Akshay steals the thunder with his chilling presence and a piercing gaze that fills you with the fear of the devil. Cast against type, Rikesh shows his range as the chameleon who could be comic and violent in the same frame. The Balak politics and the pulsating background score by Shashwat Sachdev add layers of anticipation to the proceedings. Bullets find their target when they travel on the husky voice of Asha Athupsram Roho and Aditya's biting dialogues. However, Ranveer's chemistry with young Sarah Arjun doesn't make you skip a beat despite a medley of yesteryear's hits playing in the background. It may be a requirement of the character, but after a point Ranveer's bravura and brooding intensity become monotonous in front of Akshay's charismatic presence. The bigger problem is that Aditya has bitten more than he could chew. Instead of focusing on the crux, he spends too much time introducing his characters and setting the stage for the big names. There is Chaudhry Islam, Sanjay Dutt, an impulsive police officer who has no love lost for the Balaks. Then there is IS Officer Major Iqbal, Arjun Rampal, the shrewd connecting link between the gangs and the political leadership in Islamabad. To justify their presence, Aditya digresses. In the process, Ranveer remains in the shadows, leaving the audience to miss the wild pace and wicked vibe the trailer promised. Like the popular Hassan Jahangir number of the late 1980s used in this film, there is a lot of hoa-hoa, with a pretense of substance. In the run-up to the release, Aditya felicitated young Ajay Gautam for editing the explosive trailer, which generated hype for the film. While the Enterprise's pacing and plot fall short of its own hype, its sustained firepower ensures audiences will await the second part of Operation Dhurandhar. Dhurandhar, starring Ranveer Singh, has been garnering widespread praise on social media, including from celebrities, for its gripping story. Inspired by real-life events and crime syndicates in Karachi's Lyari area, the film draws on true incidents to depict India's fight against terror in Pakistan. Even Pakistani audiences have lauded the film after watching it in theaters. Many called Dhurandhar must-watch, stating that it simply presents the facts and is not anti-Pakistan. Pakistani audiences review Ranveer Singh's Dhurandhar. A viral video on X, shared by a user named BreakingBad9876, features a review of Dhurandhar by Pakistani audiences living abroad. In the video, a woman says, "Movie must watch hai. Mujh samajhna ye raha ki achi acting kisan ki hai. Aur itni achi movie, mere kai el mine main kabhi pehlna ye dekhi." Go and watch it, don't miss it. Further, another man from the same friend group adds, "To all my Pakistani fellows, ya movie dikhna hai, bilkul anti-Pakistan movie nahi hai. History ki gaili hai, facts ki gaye hain." For Ranveer Singh, Akshaye Khanna deliver a violent spy thriller directed by Aditya. Dhurandhar review, controversial and violent spy thriller shines despite gore to bite. There are many things that go through your mind as you watch Dhurandhar, the controversial blockbuster that has raked in over Rs 14 billion at the Indian box office. UE audiences who love Bollywood movies didn't get to see it during its theatrical release, but now it is streaming on Netflix and it feels like the ultimate guilty pleasure. We are late to the party, and expectations are sky high. First things first. This is a compelling spy thriller. Ranveer Singh plays an undercover agent sent to Lyari town in Pakistan to infiltrate a powerful gang led by Akshaye Khanna, who brings an undeniable swagger and menace to the role. It is also an extremely violent film. If you don't have the stomach for severed heads, skulls smashed with stones and blood splattering across the screen, this movie is not for you. It certainly isn't meant for viewers who flinch at graphic gore. You also need to keep in mind that Aditya is a filmmaker with a strong political lens. The narrative is skewed, pushing a one-sided agenda in which India's rival nation is portrayed through deeply troubling stereotypes. The layers of prejudice and caricature are hard to ignore. And then comes the unavoidable question about the politics of art. At many points, your enjoyment of Dhurandhar depends on which side of the rival nation you stand on. A shoddily made film like the Kerala Files or the Kashmir Files, with its loud jingoism, may not affect you as much as a well-crafted propaganda film that presents fiction as fact under the guise of realism. That is what makes Dhurandhar more unsettling. Its insular vision and technical polish blur the line between storytelling and political messaging, making it easier for audiences to consume ideology without questioning it. When propaganda is wrapped in slick filmmaking and strong performances, it becomes far more persuasive and far more dangerous. Yet, as cinema, it remains gripping. This contradiction is what defines Dhurandhar, a film that is both absorbing and deeply problematic. In terms of acting, Ranveer Singh and Akshaye Khanna are the backbone and spine of the film. We know Ranveer as one of Bollywood's most flamboyant performers, but here he consciously takes a backseat, staying in the shadows because his character must maintain a low profile as an undercover agent. That restraint is interesting to watch, and when the film finally gives him space to emote, he delivers. One standout scene is when his character realizes that the guns he handed over have been used by extremists in Pakistan to carry out the Mumbai blasts. The shock, guilt and helplessness on his face are powerfully captured, showcasing his acting prowess. Equally striking is the moment when Akshaye Khanna and his on-screen wife break down over the death of their son. Their grief is handled with remarkable emotional restraint and no melodrama, just raw, lived-in trauma that feels painfully real. Another scene that truly gets under your skin is when Ranveer Singh's Hamza tries to dissuade Akshaye Khanna from aligning himself with extremist groups that destroy innocent lives. Akshaye Khanna's visceral reaction in that exchange is pure gold. Conflicted, furious and deeply human. Plus, there's been a lot of chatter about the 20-year age gaps between Ranveer Singh and Sora Arjun, who plays his on-screen love interest. She's a rich politician's daughter and he's a goon. But interestingly, the chemistry is solid despite their grating age difference. The music, too, plays a crucial role in shaping the film's impact. It has gone viral for all the right reasons, amplifying both tension and emotion while giving Dhurandhar its pulse. The background score, in particular, heightens the drama and sustains the film's momentum. Despite its disturbing politics, Dhurandhar works as a fast-paced, high-octane thriller, one that leaves you conflicted, entertained and unsettled all at once. It's messy, but magnetic. And if the diktat of art is to provoke, then the first chapter of Dhurandhar has pulled off a clean hit job. 5. Where Yash Chopra is synonymous with melodramas, Karan Johar with rom-dramedies, and Anurag Kashyap with black comedies, Aditya has been creating his own brand of spy espionage movies inspired by real-life events. His first, Uri, The Surgical Strike, 2019, was inspired by the 2016 terrorist attack on Raya, a small town in Kashmir by militants from Jaish-e-Mohammed who are active in Pakistan. His second, Dhurandhar, is seemingly inspired by all the attacks Pakistani terrorists have ever planned and executed in India. Though Dar has graciously fictionalized the very real terrorist attacks and smartly inserted real-life footage of the 2001 Parliament attack as well as phone recordings from the 26/11 Mumbai attack. Make no mistake, this story is entirely fictional. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events, is purely not coincidental. R. Madhavan opens the film as Indian National Security Advisor Ajay Sanyal, inspired by IPS officer Ajit Doval, negotiating the safe return of the Indian passengers aboard the hijacked plane in Kandahar, based on the IRL plane hijack event. Though many lives were saved during this operation, it was largely scoffed upon and considered a national security failure, as 3 dangerous terrorists were freed from Indian prisons. You can read more about the incident here. This embarrassing feat is followed by the 2001 Parliament attack which Indian intelligence completely missed to prevent. What face would the Veer Singhs of Bharatma show if they got beaten by their neighbors so easily? That's when the long con of Dhurandhar begins. Dhurandhar Review. The plot and characters. Dhurandhar is the name of that fictional but radical operation by the Indian government which placed agents in the many terrorist groups of Pakistan in 2002 to provide intel back to India, and one such agent is Ranveer Singh's Hamza Ali Mazari, whose abnormally large physique, long hair, light-colored eyes and constant brood are manicured to perfectly fit the bill of a beast, aka India's ultimate weapon against Pakistani terrorists, aka Deshbakt. He is aptly introduced with the song Aashiq Jalo Karwan, which paints him as this man who is not looking for a Karwan or a creed to belong to. He has burnt his Aashiq, which in this case could either be romantic or perhaps the love for his country. Want more detail on who he is, where he comes from, and what he was in India before he was recruited for this mission? All of that will be explained in Dhurandhar Part 2. Yup, not only is this movie 3 hours and 32 minutes long, barring the interval, there's also a second part which will release on Eid next year, so mark your calendars. Or not. Dhurandhar is the name of that fictional but radical operation by the Indian government which placed agents in the many terrorist groups of Pakistan in 2002 to provide intel back to India. Part 1 is almost entirely based in Lyari, Karachi, and focuses on the gang war and its regional politics. Legend has it, whoever rules over Karachi rules over Pakistan. Here, we get introduced to the kingpins, Akshaye Khanna as Raman Dakeda, an IRL gang leader who created the People's Almond Committee Party in Lyari. Rekashpati as political leader Jamil Jamalia, loosely based on Nabi Ahmed Gabal. Arjun Rampol as IS Officer Major Bala, modeled after Ilaz Kashmiri, and Sanjay Dutt as SP Chaudhry Islam, based on Chaudhry Islam Khan Swati. The film is set between 2002 and 2009. Charting the time Hamza arrives at Lyari and infiltrates Raman Daket's gang till Raman is killed in a police encounter in 2009, which again is based in truth. What works? Performances and music. Dar uses the same chapter-style narrative as Uri for this incredibly long movie. Each chapter feels a little longer than the previous one, strapping us right in our seats and tempting us to flip the pages to find out how everything connects in the end. All the chapters are chronologically told, with the last one titled Dayat to Bruta, the chapter where our brute Hamza finally betrays Raman. Akshaye Khanna is incredible in this film. He brings both the emotional and the greed for power, and his performance looks devilishly handsome doing it. Though the media pushed Ranveer Singh to the forefront of the promotions, veteran actors Arjun Rampol and Rekashpati easily outshine him in the scenes they are together. Another standout performer is Danish Pander, who plays Raman Daket's cousin Uzair Balak, an additional driving force in the film with the music. The story may be a slow burn, but the score by Shashwat Sachdev is not. The film is laced with pumping, energetic beats. That being said, the only song worth listening to is Aziz by Diljit Dosanjh and Hanumankind. The rest of them are either remakes of already hit songs or forgettable. Parts of Aashiq Ishq from the movie Barsat Ki Raat have been used in 2 songs on the album. Aashiq Jalo Karwan and Aashiq Ishq, both equally catchy. You also get the remixed version of A Ram Raho, amping up the only motorbike car chase sequence. The Dhurandhar title track is a rendition of Punjabi folk song A Nada Dil Pardesi Nua, which translates to Don't give your heart to a stranger, setting the tone of caution for the characters and subtly nudging the viewers to not keep their sympathies with the strangers, even if there are numbers. What doesn't work? The setting, as the characters are introduced one by one. Dar recreates Pakistan's political history, but that's where all the resemblance to reality falters and starts appearing gimmicky. The high-speed action sequences shot from the top and the excessive use of slow-mo end up revealing just how much patchwork the post-production team has had to do. And let's be honest, shattering glass and gory deaths are overdone now. Somewhere along the line of adding stylistic shots, Dar forgets to show actual spy work. It almost seems like the beast India sent to Lyari is just beauty and brawn, lacking the brain. All this rhetoric borrowed from our Adaraniya Pradhan Montarji's speeches serves as a testament that the scriptwriter Dar didn't need much to cook up the story or the dialogues. The hate propaganda is subtly embedded into the story because all we see are the vile Pakistani terrorists. The characters look like they're straight out of a C-grade Indian movie, hurling mob and galas at each other every other second. Funny that, since there are not that many female characters in the film. Dhurandhar review: where are the women? In the gang war-infested fictionalized version of Karachi, there is no space for women, but only for Baratma, which is an abstract concept, and 2 item song dancers with a sneaky Jasmine Sandler's singer cameo. For all the slow burn serious spy thriller it promises, Dhurandhar couldn't escape the trope of an item song thrust in the middle. As for the film's heroine, Sora Arjun, the youngster plays Ye Alina, Jamil Jamali's daughter and Hamza's love interest, and only enters the movie after the 1-hour mark. The freshly 20, college-going, partying, father-hating spoilt brat finds her escape in the honest and good-hearted Hamza, who lucks out again. She becomes the perfect instrument for Hamza to keep an eye on the politician and his corrupt undertakings. She becomes an important aid in his plan to destroy the Lyari gangs from within. Perhaps she has a greater role to play in part 2. Foreboding or foreshadowing: there is a lot of foreshadowing in the first 10 minutes of the film, which then makes its runtime of 214 minutes not worth the investment. The most disappointing of all was the ultimate reveal that Ranveer Singh's Hamza is an Indian agent, a scene that falls flat as the audience has known this for 3.5 hours already. To make up for this lack of punch, Dar has Ranveer Singh reciting these lines in his beastly voice: "Ye Naya Hindustan Hai, Ye Garmi Guzigabit or Mergabit. This is the new India. It will barge in your house and will beat you up too." All this rhetoric borrowed from our Adharaniya Pradhan Montarji's speeches serves as a testament that the scriptwriter Dar didn't need much to cook up the story or the dialogues. The hate propaganda is subtly embedded into the story because all we see are the vile Pakistani terrorists and the violence that Hamza has to perform in order to earn their trust. Never mind that he may be cut from the same cloth. As they say, truth is stranger than fiction, perhaps entertaining too. There's an invisible line between truth and fiction, and this film tiptoes that line, but it isn't careful about it as it crosses the line, assuming no one is watching, but we are. Aarti, she/they, is a young feminist, currently based out of Jodhpur, who enjoys writing on pop culture and art-related subjects. Through her writings, she attempts to position herself between self-reflection and social conversation, leading to the exploration of unconventional ideas. In her free time, she travels, writes poetry, watches films and anime. Director of the Intelligence Bureau Ajay Sanyal, R. Madhavan, is frustrated with multiple attacks on Indian soil by the neighboring nation. He proposes a plan to tackle it, but it's rejected for a long time. Finally, after the terror attack on the Indian Parliament, it is approved. He sends an agent, Hamza Ali Mazari, Ranveer Singh, to Pakistan. How does Hamza navigate the terrain, tackling various people and neutralizing threats to India? The challenges and disappointments he faces in the process. How the decision proves to be a major asset for India is the movie's core plot. Performances: Ranveer Singh as Hamza Ali Mazari is the movie's anchor. He is solid and holds the entire film together, even when people around him continue to steal or run the show. Ranveer comes to the party during the final hour, where we finally see the character take an active part in taking the narrative forward. From the physique to the body language, Ranveer Singh elevates the character with subtlety. He keeps his usual over-enthusiasm at bay and surrenders to the part as per the requirement. Many scenes highlight the same as the actor emotes, without overdoing anything or exaggerating things than necessary. As the end suggests, there is a lot more to his role, and one can sense he could be the scene stealer in the upcoming concluding saga. Sora Arjun has a brief role, but it is also important to the narrative. She isn't the typical heroine, but gets enough to shine in the extraordinary ensemble cast and register amidst them. Analysis: Aditya R directs Dhurandhar. It is a unique hybrid genre where the narrative is a mix of gangster and spy drama with real-life incidents thrown in equal measures. Right from the start, one must keep in mind that Dhurandhar is a 3.5-hour narrative flick. The movie is shown chapter-wise, with each one locking a theme in its block and also forming a piece that fills the overall puzzle. As a whole, the screenplay style helps the huge length be divided into pieces and takes things forward in an episodic manner, where each chapter can be seen as an extended short, only here they are part of a larger, holistic narrative. All this is fine and good gimmick to say, but this would work only if the actual narrative offers gripping content, and this is where Dhurandhar gets things right. The movie, from the start, offers a tense and gripping narrative. The performances, direction, and other technical aspects come together to enhance the appeal. Having said all that, the first half of the movie is still a lag. It is mainly due to the lack of surprises in following the various genre tropes. Despite using the real-life incidents heavily, one can't help but feel the lag due to the routine elements that the narrative goes through. The rise of Hamza, for example, which takes up a large portion, is a prime example. We can see where it's all leading. However, the setting and the actual happening executed with great detail help avoid the pitfalls, even though not entirely. It is almost 2 hours by the time one reaches the interval mark. Still, one is invested and involved in the narrative, which is the best thing about the movie. The second half, in comparison, is not only better but racy in packed with high emotions and action moments. The 26:11 sequence, the entire pre-climax and climax stretch, the release of Raman Docket, etc., are some of the segments which take us on the edge of our seats and never let us feel the length. By the time one reaches the end, the length of 3.5 hours is not felt at all. One is so immersed and, in fact, looks forward to what the story has to offer in the upcoming installment. It is a huge victory for the filmmaker in making and execution. The other important aspect is the politics the movie represents. It is sure to divide the opinion and perspective as a result. Depending on where one stands, the level of enjoyment changes. However, one can't deny the craft and making that went into bringing the final output. Overall, Dhurandhar is a well-made gangster-cum-spy genre flick that hits the right note all the way during the movie's second half. If one is okay with the politics and the lengthy narrative, mainly the first half, it is a film that shouldn't be missed on the big screen. Performances by others actors. Dhurandhar is one of the rare films where all characters shine. Whether it's a small one or a big, everyone leaves an impression in the small runtime they get. However, among all, Akshaye Khanna and Rakeshpati easily stand out with their acts. The former is electrifying, while the latter silently walks away with scenes without putting in any extra effort. They elevate every scene they are present in. Sanjay Dutt and Arjun Rampal follow next. They don't have as many scenes as the actors mentioned above, but they are fine and manage to create impact in scenes designed for them. R. Madhavan is also excellent, but gets less time here. The rest of the cast is equally impressive and makes an impression in the small moments they get. Music in other departments. Shashwat Sachdev's music and background score are excellent. In fact, it overpowers the narrative at times. The reimagining of classic songs and their placement is well done, but tonal inconsistencies are felt a few places. The editing is fine, overall, but one can't help but feel that if things were trimmed further, then the proceedings could have been even sharper. Technically, the movie is brilliant. The cinematography stands out. The locations are captured with the big screen impact without losing realism. It is a difficult task, but manageable, and the team has done a brilliant job. The set work is extraordinary. Consider this. The entire Pakistan territory has been recreated in a foreign location. The writing is neat and blends well with the proceedings. 7 Beta main intelligence mine camp Kartihun, circus mine Nai. As I stepped out of the theater after Dhurandhar, this Manoj Bajpayee gem from the latest season of The Family Man was the only line ringing in my ears. He utters it when his son asks why he doesn't have code names like Tiger, since he's a spy. And it lands because it cuts through the myth-making. We have spent years watching spies depicted as superhumans. After all, Dhurandhar pushes back against all of that. The question is, does it work? The plot. The story begins with the longest hijack in Indian aviation history, the Kandahar episode of 1999. The Indian government is rattled, and things only escalate with the parliament attack in 2001. The intelligence community has had enough, and Operation Dhurandhar is born. Hamza, Ranveer Singh, slips into the underbelly of terror networks posing as a Pakistani and starts working his way up through Raman Docket, brought alive by Akshaye Khanna. Complicating matters is Major Iqbal from the ISI. Arjun Rampal, a man committed to making India bleed. How far will Hamza go? Well, far enough for the makers to announce in the end that there will indeed be a part 2 releasing in March 2026. From what I hear, the footage is already shot, and quite a few messy scenes from the trailer have clearly been saved for the second installment. What works for Dhurandhar had proven his command over this genre with his debut film itself, Uri, The Surgical Strike. And one of his trademarks is structuring stories in chapters, even when he is only producing and writing, like in Article 370. Dhurandhar follows the same. The first half spends nearly 2 hours building the world, with Aditya delving deeply into Hamza's mission. Sanias Johre, the production designer, has done a fabulous job of recreating Pakistan. The story never panders to a star image and is focused on its Ajka India Garmine Goose Merga approach. The pace, though, raises a fair question. At a time when microdramas lasting minutes are being made, will the audience stay with a 3.5-hour film? Aditya's direction is solid and his grip on the subject clear. Although the dialogue occasionally overwhelms the action, there is a romantic track between newcomer Sora Arjun and Ranveer that begins well, but the sheer volume of events creates fatigue by intermission. The second half shifts gears effectively. The tension finally builds, and the climax delivers the release that viewers have been waiting for. And yes, the film is not shy of bloodshed, beheading included. That is the only real overlap Dhurandhar has with Ranbir Kapoor's Animal. So fan clubs battling it out on social media can relax. The performances excel. The performances are what keep you invested. Yes, even for 3.5 hours. Ranveer Singh plays a part unlike anything he has attempted before. He is completely restrained, saving his rage for the moments that demand it. The tug-of-war between maintaining his cover and watching his country be humiliated is conveyed with real conviction. Akshaye Khanna, as the calculating Reman, matches Ranveer beat for beat in terms of screen time and uses every minute with unforced swagger. Sanjay Dutt, billed as a special appearance playing Chaudhry Islam, slips naturally into a role that thrives on machismo. Sora Arjun makes a confident debut and holds her own opposite Ranveer. Rikashpati, playing the slippery politician Jamil, is in terrific form and feels perfectly cast. Arjun Rampal folds into his character with ease. Soumya Tandon, in her one breakdown scene, is effective. The music by Shashwat Sachdev works wonderfully in the background, with old Hindi classics recreated, but when it pushes forward, it only slows things down. A song featuring Chrysal D'Souza and Aisha Khan, for instance, breaks the pace rather than lifting it. In the end, Dhurandhar works best as a character study wrapped in a sprawling espionage drama. The storytelling is indulgent and detailed, but the emotional stakes and the cast keep you hooked. Trim 30 minutes and this would have been a knockout. As it stands, it is a sturdy watch. 8. Dhurandhar has fooled you, and now you walk in expecting an unending parade of ferocious action and gore, only to realize that the film is far more layered and far more ambitious than anything its marketing hinted at. The runtime, which stretches to a mighty 3 hours and 34 minutes, sounds intimidating on paper. Yet the film finds a way of turning that length into an asset instead of a liability. Dhurandhar never behaves like a brutal action celebration, even though its trailer promised carnage of a scale that would make anyone brace their spine before walking into the theater. The film unfolds like an elaborate visual novel that has been lovingly carved into chapters, each one more absorbing than the last. And after a point you stop counting them and simply surrender to the world that surrounds you. The choice to treat the narrative in this textured, chapter-based format gives the film an unusual rhythm that never tries to impress you with noise. Instead, it drifts into your mind and sets up camp. What makes the entire exercise fascinating is the fact that Aditya Dar willingly rejects the temptation of keeping the screen drenched in relentless explosions. He chooses selective bursts of violence and controlled portions of action which carry more weight than any endless sequence could have. These fleeting moments create tension that feels earned and atmospheric. When a film has this kind of expansive runtime, any overuse of chaos would have crushed the experience. But Dar ensures that every beat feels carefully measured. The restraint becomes the real spectacle. Dhurandhar borrows its pulse from Operation Layari, called Operation Dhurandhar here, an extremely charged chapter of South Asian law enforcement history. The film uses this template to create its own fictional world filled with espionage, corruption, underground networks, and the frighteningly believable consequences of unchecked power. Arjun Rampal steps in as Major Iqbal, an ICE agent who is driven by an ambition so malicious that he becomes the puppeteer of Karachi's dark underbelly while plotting against India. The way Dar builds this environment, packed with danger and adrenaline without ever feeling hollow, deserves applause. Set against historic landmarks like the AK-814 hijacking and the attack on the Indian Parliament, Dhurandhar positions itself as a high-energy duel between two sharp minds. Ajay Sanyal, played with characteristic sharpness by R. Madhavan, becomes the strategic shield protecting India from Major Iqbal's terrifying designs. The interactions between all the players on both sides form the skeletal structure of the film, and they are handled with unwavering clarity. Dar never loses sight of his characters even when the narrative enters broader geopolitical territory. There is something genuinely admirable about the conviction with which Aditya Dar has crafted Dhurandhar. Very few filmmakers today attempt movie making that actively steps outside familiar boundaries. The breaks from convention are constant and deliberate. That the producers supported this enormous vision without forcing it into a safer mold is commendable. Watching Sanjay Dutt and Akshaye Khanna standing at the center of this complex battlefield feels strangely poetic, partly because both actors have lived through enough intense cinematic eras to bring that lived energy into every frame. Dutt breaks away from the repetitive villainous mold he has often been pushed into, and it feels refreshing to see him lean into something with more nuance. Khanna, with his timeless stillness and sharp delivery, becomes a remarkable counterpart. Their presence gives the film a strange emotional gravity. The climax of Dhurandhar feels like a controlled act of rebellion against every rule of mainstream action. It is wild, calculated, imaginative, and strangely beautiful. Dar arranges every moment with the conductor's precision, building tension that refuses to release you until the final frame has breathed its last. In a world where action films keep resorting to predictable patterns, Dhurandhar boldly refuses to follow the script, and the result is a finale that genuinely thrills. And the music, while it has been chart-busting with one banger after another everywhere already, courtesy Shashwat Sachdev's stellar soundtrack, the background score and yet lesser-known songs including remixed versions of old classics are so seamlessly and intricately put into the film's structure that the music acts yet another huge bonus in elevating your experience. One of the most intriguing surprises in Dhurandhar is Ranveer Singh's approach to his character Hamza. The film could easily have turned him into an unstoppable hero who bulldozes every obstacle, but Dar writes him as a patient intelligence asset who infiltrates the enemy with caution, strategy, and quiet determination. This means he is intentionally absent from large chunks of the narrative, and Singh embraces that with admirable fearlessness. He lets the ensemble breathe instead of wrestling the film into a star vehicle. In a time when actors are often accused of insecurity, this choice stands out as an example of self-assurance. Hamza's introductory thread, which blossoms into an origin story in the final stretch, promises an even larger universe, and it is hard not to feel excited about the sequel, which has already been lined up for March next year. Dhurandhar cannot function without its ensemble. The cast merges into the story like interlocking parts of an intricate mechanism. Akshaye Khanna is razor-sharp, Arjun Rampal is menacing and controlled. Sanjay Dutt brings emotional heft. Rikashpati turns out to be a surprise delight as Jamil, a politician who moves between comedy and cruelty with the ease of someone who understands narrative rhythm. Even the supporting actors arrive with intention and craftsmanship instead of fading into the background like the likes of Gaurav Jara and Danish Pandar, who played Uzair. This is the difference between a routine ensemble and a truly alive one. Sora Arjun's romantic thread with Ranveer Singh works in some places, although her rawness occasionally shows. Her youth makes certain emotional moments feel lighter than intended, yet her sincerity offers a sweetness that balances the brutality of the world around her. The fictional town of Lyari has been constructed with the level of detail that deserves its own paragraph of appreciation. The production design team creates a world so persuasive and so textured that you forget you are watching sets. Every street, every wall, Every corner feels inhabited. The grime, the chaos, the claustrophobia, and the tension feel organic. It is the kind of world-building that does not scream for attention yet elevates the narrative. The team deserves enormous recognition for this achievement. Dhurandhar positions itself as one chapter in a larger saga. The mention of a hit list, the build-up of Hamza's long-term mission, and the carefully planted narrative seeds all point toward a universe that intends to grow. This approach allows the story to breathe. Instead of complicating itself to justify a sequel, it feels natural and strategic. By the time the credits roll, you are already seated in your mind waiting for the next installment to begin. Dhurandhar is a rare contemporary commercial film that marries scale with craft and control with imagination. It does not behave like the action showpiece it was marketed as, and that becomes its biggest triumph. The film experiments without apology and trusts its audience enough to follow its unusual rhythm. It respects its own world and expects you to do the same. The length, the structure, the performances, the political undercurrent, the quiet pockets of emotion, and the bursts of merciless action all blend into something that feels satisfyingly different. If this is only the first chapter of Hamza's story, then the journey ahead is going to be one wild ride. Dhurandhar sweeps you into a world that looks like pure action chaos from the outside. It turns into a gripping cinematic novel once you step in. Akshaye reshapes every expectation and delivers a sprawling, chapter-driven epic that feels bold and addictive. The ensemble fires on all cylinders and the climax is a knockout. Here is the full review. 9. This is indeed one of Ranveer Singh's best performances of the year, and it was indeed worth the wait for all of us. It looks like he is choosing his movies with care. After his brilliant performance in Rocky or Rani Kya Premka Aitni, Dhurandhar is a completely different film with loads of action and giggles of the guns. And if you love the smell of blood, you truly cannot miss it. This film is indeed one of the most engaging releases of this year. The film is divided into 8 chapters and opens with a terrorist attack scene. Breaking up the film into chapters works well for the film. Dhurandhar is a name of a mission, and it did take inspiration from covert operations led by RAW, 1999 IC 814 Kandahar hijack, Parliament attack of December 2001, Operation Lyari, 26/11 terrorist attack and more. And no, the film is not based on Major Mohit Sharma. After watching the film, you will realize how the politics of the neighboring country and how things work in the streets of Karachi and the way the underworld functions and how all that is connected to India. The 3 hours, 34 minutes movie can be a bit of an overstretch, but it is worth all your time. It is indeed one of the biggest and boldest release of 2025. It is a pulse-pounding look into the high-stakes world of covert operatives, where every decision is a matter of life and death, and the battle for the nation is fought in the shadows. The movie is not based on the armed forces, but about men who actually risk their lives and fight invisible wars. It is about men who have sacrificed everything to serve their country, and most importantly we need to realize that these are the men who have even probably forgotten real names. This is Ranveer Singh's career best performance, especially his restrained emotional scenes have come out brilliantly. Performing the role of a mean killing machine with emotions isn't easy, but he does it with utmost brilliance. He can be brutal, cunning and emotional and at the same time unpredictable. Too many actors is never a crowd when you have such solid performances from each one of them, whether it is Ranveer Singh, Arjun Rampal, Sanjay Dutt, R. Madhavan, or Rakeshpati. Dhurandhar is a tribute to all such men and those forgotten voices who risk their all for the nation. As filmmaker Akshaye rightly said, Dhurandhar isn't just a film it's a raw, visceral truth pulled from a deeply personal core. It is a tribute to the silent architects of our world, the extraordinary men and women whose monumental work never makes the headlines. And Akshaye has proved yet again that he indeed has a very special and unique storytelling lens. Coming to the performances, though Ranveer Singh steals the show, Arjun Rampal's performance too was terrific despite limited screen time. The way Dhurandhar ends makes you want the second part, and I am sure Akshaye is soon going to come up with it. For the theater-going audiences, This film is a complete package and an absolute value for money, and the best thing about the film is not a single dialogue or scene looks forced or irrelevant. Tengil Hunal I Gatak Huna. This dialogue beautifully captures the essence of a Dhurandhar while telling the resilient story of Ranveer Singh's Hamza, the lengthiest film of Bollywood in recent times, 8 over 2.5 hours long. This attitude art directorial is raw, explosive and packs a dome-killer punch that will make you shed a tear as you think of all those unknown brave sons of India who go undercover in order to keep the country and all its residents safe. So what is the film all about? Following the IC-814 hijacking, the Kandahar hijack, in 1999 and the 2001 Parliament attack, IB Chief Ajay Sanyal, Madhavan, puts forth a plan to have an Indian go undercover and infiltrate the enemy in order to avoid more such terror attacks. The film sets the stage on a historic backdrop without wasting a moment. Dhar then skillfully expands the narrative to show the political tremors that push the Indian intelligence system beyond its limits. As is the rock on which the story stands, spanning nearly a decade, the film also shows the part Pakistan played in major terror attack not just in India but globally too, with the use of archival footage. Be it the 9/11 terror attacks or the shocking one that took place in Mumbai on November 26, 2008, the makers have kept the narrative raw. In fact, these sequences will make you feel patriotic without becoming a jingoist. Scroll below or read more about the film and whether it's worth a watch in theaters. What is good? Hamza is not a larger-than-life super spy like Tiger or Pathan. He's an everyday, simple man who is willing to move mountains and rivers to keep his country safe. The makers have made sure his character is human, and that's the biggest plus for the film. Dhurandhar's music, cinematography and dialogues along with the well-written but lengthy script also deserve rounds of applause. Technical analysis direction. The national award-winning director has once more proved his capabilities and how he's left no stone unturned in making sure that Dhurandhar is a film that also, with being gritty and gory, is also patriotic and honors the unknown heroes of India beautifully. There is no doubt he ran from pillar to post and to the pillar again in order to deliver a project that deserves national and international recognition. Story screenplay. Lal Aditya Dhar shone bright as the director. His writing also deserves a round of applause. Writing the script for a 3.5-hour-long film is no joke, and that was clearly visible in the screenplay of Dhurandhar. While the narrative does lag in places, you will still be engrossed in what's happening on screen and the every in between. The dialogues, though heavy, are still massy and will have you repeating them long after the on-credits roll by. One drawback, and that cause of the CBFC and not the makers, is the beeping of abuses. Respected censor board, even with you beeping the mix and BCs, kids even know what's being said. Cinematography. Vikash Nolak's cinematography is on point. Be it the arid mountains in Afghanistan or the deserted locals of Balochistan, or the chaotic streets of Lyari, Mr. Vikash has got it all right. He even managed to create some of the worst and shocking terror attacks of India authentically. Music. Shashwat Sachdev's music has enhanced the storytelling of Dhurandhar, and no one can tell me otherwise. The background score is immersing, and the silence that follows will touch your heart. From the innocent sweet romance to the bloody, action and death-filled narrative, the music provided perfectly suits their respective situations. If you rave about Ranveer Singh after watching his performances in films like Ram Leela, Bajai Mastani and Padmani Avad, Dhurandhar will take that love and adoration for him and his acting capabilities even higher. Ranveer has undoubtedly delivered one of his career best performances to date. He's raw, gritty, and explosively powerful, and deserves tons of love and accolades for it. As Hamza, Singh beautifully portrays a variety of emotions including hurt, love, guilt, anger and above all unpredictability, all while appearing calm, charming and innocent. Ranveer has played Hamza, he literally become him and delivered a mind-blogging performance, especially in the film's last 30 minutes and end credits. The next best performance in Dhurandhar without a doubt is Akshaye Khanna, followed by Arjun Rampal, Sanjay Dutt and Rakesh Bedi. Akshay as Raman Dakate, Balak is deadly as he is humane. Sanjay Dutt, who gives off Khanayak vibes while doing right for his country, impresses in every frame he appears. Arjun as Major Iqbal is deadly as will leave you sick with the level of torture he makes his victims go through. Talking about Maddie, the actor plays Chief Ajay Sanil with precision and gravitas. He commands the scene from the very first frame to the last with his stern performances, powerful and crisp dialogues and an aura expected from an officer of his caliber. Sora Arjun has delivered a good enough performance as Dhurandhar is worth the watch, as if not only has some of Bollywood's best actors delivering top-notch performances, but it's also a patriotic film that honors and celebrates the unknown and unsung heroes who willingly enter the most dangerous of situations in order to make sure the nation is safe. Book your tickets and head to your nearest theaters to see Ranveer unleash the animal within him to keep him safe. You will not be disappointed. 11 Directed by Aditya Dar and produced by Jyoti Deshpande alongside B62 and Jio Studios. I was convinced that Dhurandhar's runtime would be its bane. I went into the theater thinking that the length would bore me, despite gripping performances by Ranveer Singh, Akshaye Khanna, Sanjay Dutt, Arjun Rampal and R. Madhavan. The movie had caught my eye a long time ago and, honestly, I had been looking forward to watching it because I am not one to complain about a good spy action thriller. I was also afraid that the film would lose itself in the violence, prioritizing spectacle and gore instead of structured action sequences. However, I was impressed by how good the action was. Unsurprisingly, the movie dragged on for far too long. With a runtime of 3 hours and 32 minutes, there was no need for it to be so long, and the first half was paced in an awfully slow manner. Sora Arjun's involvement in this film also bothered me thoroughly, not because she did a bad job, but because the age gap almost acted like a thorn in Dhurandhar's side. Luckily, you wouldn't have to wait too long for its sequel, which was announced right after the movie ended on a cliffhanger. The gore wasn't unnecessarily flashy and was used for storytelling purposes rather than stylistic purposes. I truly enjoyed how the bloodshed highlighted the brutality of gang wars. Just as the first half felt dragged out, the second picked up its pace. I kept waiting for something impactful to happen in the first half, but the second half came in like a storm. The movie was divided into multiple chapters, and the storytelling style was quite different from the usual commercial movies, something that was a unique flair of Aditya Dar's. Each chapter covered minor arcs, giving the film a structure that felt conclusive at every point. The final chapter was even titled, A Et Tu Brutus, a reference to Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. There was a scene in particular that showed real-life conversations between terrorists and handlers during the tragic Taj attacks on 26/11. It can easily bring chills down anyone's spine. The camera work felt very personal, if not downright intrusive. It felt as though you weren't just watching a film but were a part of it. Right as the film ended, revealing who Ranveer Singh truly was, the sequel to Dhurandhar was announced to be released on March 19, 2026. Right off the bat, credit should be given where it is due. Ranveer Singh and Akshaye Khanna, undoubtedly, give one of their best performances in Dhurandhar. Alongside them, Arjun Rampal, R. Madhavan and Sanjay Dutt do a splendid job. Sora Arjun was not a wasted actress in the film, which was honestly surprising. Her role, although minor, was impactful and also changed the tide of the film. Rikashpati brought this flair of comedy that honestly felt like a palate cleanser. What stood out was how, despite the number of characters the film had, no one felt like they got too much or too little screen time. The soundtrack of Dhurandhar is easily one of the most jammable out there. Songs like Aziz, the title track, and Ishq Jalokar Karvan were genuinely fun and set the tone of their respective scenes. The item songs felt forced and were, perhaps, the weakest in the album. The background music did wonders for the film. There are some tracks that get your adrenaline pumping and Dhurandhar's BGM does that masterfully. Concluding thoughts: I went into Dhurandhar with extremely high expectations, and the film managed to surpass all of them. Each and every element of the film worked in its favor, so much so that when the sequel was confirmed, it didn't feel as though the story was being purposefully dragged out to milk more money out of the audience. I am yet to watch a film by Aditya Dar that fails to impress, and luckily, Ranveer Singh's film definitely didn't disappoint. 12 Dhurandhar is one film that our country just can't get enough of. Not just the audience, but even Bollywood celebrities have given the Dhurandhar film glowing reviews, lauding Ranveer Singh and Akshaye Khanna's class acts. Animal director Sandeep Reddy claimed that Dhurandhar was built like a man, whereas the Kashmir Files director Vivek Agnihotri called Aditya a God's own child. Well, actor Vivek Oberoi has now reviewed the film, gushing over the director, storyline, star cast and Akshaye Khanna violence as Raman Docket. Vivek Oberoi tweeted, "I finally watched Dhurandhar after missing it in the GCC, and I am mind blown. This is more than cinema, it is the jarring shock of a switch being flicked in a pitch-black room. If you have ever stood in the heavy, airless silence of a martyr's home where the walls are crowded with memories, but the chairs remain perpetually empty. If you have felt the cold breath of history in the corridors where the unsung gave their tomorrow for our peaceful today. If you have looked into the eyes of a child who only knows their father through the glass of a framed photograph, then you will recognize the pulse of this film. Outrage is a luxury for those who have never had to face the facts. For the rest of us, this is simply the truth." Lauding Dhurandhar, the actor wrote, Dhurandhar Films doesn't just narrate, he lets the story bleed and dares you to take your eyes off your screen for the full 3 hours and 34 minutes. This cinematic brilliance shines through the lens of a director who is devoted not to spectacle, but to the craft itself. Every frame casting a spell on the viewer, every character etched out masterfully. A film that has not just pushed the envelope but ripped it apart, just like Animal did in 2023. Coming to the star cast, Vivek gushed, "The cast has surrendered to the film with a fearlessness that is rare." Ranveer official burns with a subterranean fire simmering under the restraint, proving that silence can be more haunting than any roar. Akshaye Khanna is magnificent, the power in that gaze, that smile and the intensity of the Akshaye Khanna violence. This stockade captures your heart. Actor Madhavan is the intellectual steel, the comedy within a lethal storm, the patriotic mastermind who I am so excited to see in part 2. My legendary brother Dutt Sanjay and Rampal Rajan bring a weathered, granite-like gravity that makes the shadows of the front lines feel tangible. To tell this story was a risk, to witness it is our duty. To the men and women, known and unknown, who stand as our shield while we sleep, Danyawad, our nation is forever in your debt. Thy registered cubed PS, congratulations to Dhurandhar and Akshaye Studios for becoming the highest-grossing Indian film of all time, in a single language. 13. It's tricky to review a film or series in the age of social media where everyone has a voice and access to express their opinion. But there's a difference between an opinion, a rant, and even hate speech. Film reviews fall under opinions, and there are times when people, including reviewers and journalists, are targeted for their point of view if someone didn't agree with what they had to say. Something similar happened with senior film critic Anupama Chopra, editor of The Hollywood Reporter India, who received a lot of backlash for criticizing Dhurandhar, directed by Dhurandhar, in her review for the outlet, which was published last week when the Ranveer Singh starrer released. Among the critics of her review was veteran actor Paresh Rawal. After all the trolling on social media, Anupama Chopra found support in fellow reviewers and also singer Chinmayi Sripada. Now, Anupama Chopra's review has been made private. Not only that, but she has also made the replies to her tweet on X private, that only the accounts who she follows or mentions can reply to the post. What Anupama Chopra said about Dhurandhar in her review of Dhurandhar, titled A Tough Sit, Anupama Chopra said, directed by Dhurandhar, who 6 years ago delivered the blockbuster Uri, The Surgical Strike. This 3-hour 34-minute film is only part 1, with part 2 arriving in March. Dhurandhar tactically weaves in real events like the Kandahar hijacking, the 2001 Parliament attack, and 26/11 recordings to push buttons harder, but the mix of fact and flamboyance proves both dangerous and clunky. The veteran film critic further said, Ranveer Singh plays Hamza, an undercover operative who infiltrates Karachi's Lyari underworld, while a spectacular cast including Sanjay Dutt, Akshaye Khanna, and Sora Arjun fills out a Gotham-like world of gang rivalry. eyes in machinations, and extreme violence. She had also posted the link to the review on her X page. What Paresh Rawal said, quote, tweeting her review on X, veteran actor Paresh Rawal wrote, "Aren't you tired of being Miss Irrelevant?" After her review was made private, Paresh Rawal's response to her post is no longer available on social media. What Chinmayi Sripada said. Singer Chinmayi Sripada, known for calling a spade, shared a post on X offering her support to Anyapama Chopra. In solidarity with Anyapama Chopra, one can agree or disagree with the review, but bloodhounds and hyenas are better than the humans claiming to protect this country. May this country be cleansed of the vile bigots. Chinmayi Sripada, at Chinmayi, December 9, 2025. In solidarity with Anyapama Chopra, one can agree or disagree with the review, but bloodhounds and hyenas are better than the humans claiming to protect this country. May this country be cleansed of the vile bigots, Chinmayi Sripada wrote on X on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Sanjeev Goenka, who owns both The Hollywood Reporter India, as part of the RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, and Dhurandar's music label Saregama, shared a post on X praising the movie. Watched #Dhurandar and loved it, a hard-hitting narrative, stellar performances and incredible craft. At Ranveer official delivers an authentic and powerful performance. Big kudos to at Aditya Dar Films, at B62 Studios, Akshaye Studios and the entire cast. Special mention to Akshaye Khanna, a broken bar pic. Twitter.com/7kA Dr. Sanjeev Goenka, at Drive Sanjeev Goenka, December 9, 2025. Watched #Dhurandar and loved it, a hard-hitting narrative, stellar performances and incredible craft. At Ranveer official delivers an authentic and powerful performance. Big kudos to at Aditya Dar Films, at B62 Studios, Akshaye Studios and the entire cast. Special mention to Akshaye Khanna, who continues to win over Gen Z with that undeniable aura. Also great to see the songs trending as chartbusters. Congratulations to at Saregama Global. Excited for part 2, Sanjeev Goenka wrote on Tuesday. Anyapama Chopra has yet to publicly respond to the trolling. Also read, the Dhurandar story, how a tip-off about Kandahar hijacker became a Ranveer Singh blockbuster. 14 Dhurandar overseas review. Ranveer Singh's massive fan following has all the reasons to be on cloud 9, and rightfully so. After all, the versatile actor, who was last seen in Rocky Aur Rani Kya Pramka Aitni, followed by a cameo in Singham Again, is hitting the screens with a much-awaited release. We are talking about Dhurandar, which is an action thriller. Written, directed, and co-produced by Aditya Dar, Dhurandar has been one of the most anticipated releases of the year and comes with the stellar cast of Ranveer Singh, Sanjay Dutt, Akshaye Khanna, R. Madhavan, Arjun Rampal, Sura Arjun, and Rakesh Bedi. To note, Dhurandar marks Ranveer's first collaboration with Aditya Dar, and as the movie has been creating waves across the town. Interestingly, Dhurandar is inspired by the real-life incidents, geopolitical conflicts, and covert operations of RAW, particularly Operation Lyari, a government-led crackdown on local gangs and crime syndicates in the Lyari area of Karachi, Pakistan. From the stellar cast to the intriguing plot and impressive soundtrack, Dhurandar has been grabbing a lot of eyeballs. In fact, Dhurandar is said to be one of the longest films ever in the Indian cinema. As Dhurandar is hitting the screens on December 5th, here's how it will fare in the overseas. Dhurandar overseas review. Taking to the microblogging site Twitter, self-proclaimed critic Amari Sandhu gave Dhurandar a 4-star rating and tweeted, "This film is out of cell bus. What a powerful power-packed film. 3 hours plus full of blast, dialogues ballsy, creepy action stunts, engaging screenplay." At Ranveer Singh is back with Bang Bang. All underrated actors performed brilliantly, especially Sanjay Dutt. Akshaye Khanna as Rehamana Dakate. He nailed it. Production designing, especially Karachi Lari Town, is applause-worthy. He further emphasized, climax last half an hour of the film will give you shock, and it's the main USP of film. Last week Dear Ishq Mine, and now this massive flick. Bollywood is back in golden days. Go for it. Meanwhile, Ranveer has been all praises for his co-star Sara, and during the press conference he stated, "Sara, I can't believe we are here on this stage. What a special moment for you. I'm honored to be part of it. I'm lucky to be part of such a special moment for you. Sarah here is a prodigy. Apko pada chalga, kachlog hodhain, matlab bak panse hi apko pada high key. They are just like a child prodigy. Like Akbar Dakota Fanning at Hollywood mine. I think, Sarah, it's testament to the fact that you beat thousands of other candidates to land this part. And it's as if you were born to do this. Is lag Dihaya 50 film Kark Ahain. She's so precocious as a person. As a performer, you are one of the finest actors that I have shared screen with. You make me look better and my heartfelt gratitude for that. I just can't believe that it's your first film. Obviously, you know, somebody who I love and respect a lot, Mr. Mani Ratnam sir. You have acted in his films as well, and you have showed your potential, and this is where the world will see you, on the big stage. I'm really happy and I'm very proud of you. Thank you, Sarah. 13 Dhurandhar Movie Review 2025 opens with a strong promise that mixes espionage with high-action deep drama. The film begins with the gripping setup that pulls the audience into its world. The Dhurandhar Movie Review 2025 shows if the film lives up to its hype, explains if it is a hit or flop with a close look at its box office collection story. Today, in this article we will look at Dhurandhar Movie Review 2025 on Media Feed. Dhurandhar Movie Review 2025 Dhurandhar directed by Aditya Dar starring Ranveer Singh, Sanjay Dutt, Akshaye Khanna, Madhav and Arjun Rampal is promoted as a powerful spy action thriller. The film has a runtime of 214 minutes, which makes it one of the longest Hindi films in recent years. It aims for large-scale storytelling with strong emotions. The expectations are high. The trailer has created strong excitement on social media. The teaser shows action scenes with political tension, powerful emotional moments. The audience waits for a mix of real action with patriotic energy, sharp drama. Is Dhurandhar a hit or flop? The early buzz is positive. Advance bookings show a strong start for Dhurandhar. The cast brings high star power. The scale of the film supports a good opening. The film can become a hit if the long runtime is supported by a steady story with clear character growth. The success depends on how the film holds audience attention through its long length. The film can become a major hit if it delivers on its promise. Dhurandhar movie story. Cast crew. The Dhurandhar story follows a bold spy mission that deals with hidden networks across borders. The setup creates strong tension with tough choices for the main characters. The film uses action with emotional depth along with large-scale locations that add weight to the story. Lead actor. The lead role is played by Ranveer Singh. Supporting cast. The cast includes Sanjay Dutt, Akshaye Khanna, Madhavan, Arjun Rampal, Sora Arjun, Rikesh Bedi. Other known names.